Welcome to Stick to the Script, the podcast where we take a deep dive into the people who make the MAC the MAC. I'm excited for this episode's guest because she's got such an amazing story, and I'm excited for everyone to hear. I'll be speaking with none other than East Mississippi Community College women's basketball head coach, athletic director, Sharon Thompson. A little bit of her bio: Thompson is a former basketball standout in her native Alabama, and also has strong ties to the Magnolia State, where she excelled as a member of the women's basketball team at Mississippi State. And she's played the sport at the highest level as a member of the American Basketball League's San Jose Lasers team. She also played overseas. Thompson holds a bachelor's degree in educational psychology from Mississippi State and a master's in physical education from the University of West Alabama. There's so much more to her bio, but it's best to put it in her own words. After the break, we'll chat with the legendary Sharon Thompson.
Go from college to career in less than a year. Local manufacturers need highly skilled, highly trained technicians to grow their business. At East Mississippi Community College, preparing students for work is what we do. Through our Manufacturing Technology and Engineering division, we offer high-quality career technical education focused on modern manufacturing. You'll get top-notch instruction, access to state-of-the-art equipment, and the personalized support needed to put you on the fastest path to a high-wage job. Learn more about earning your degree with EMCC, where opportunity happens here.
Dr. Thompson, thank you so much for joining us. First question, I'd like to find out, just tell us a little bit what it means to you to be a woman in athletics. We actually just celebrated National Girls and Women in Sports Day on February 3rd. It's a day that commemorates the contributions of women in athletics. And so talk to us a little bit about what it means to be a woman in athletics, what that means to you.
I was promoted to athletic director in January of last year. So January 13th of this year made my first full year being athletic director. But no, it's just, I love it, man. I love being that model for females and for women, that they can see that we can break barriers. Normally this is a position that you wouldn't typically see a woman in, and especially a woman of color that you wouldn't see a woman in. Is very rare now. But just hopefully I'm an example and a model for young girls and young women to see that, hey, we can knock down doors, and just to make sure that we're prepared, and don't let the feminine side of us or us being labeled as a female or a woman stop us from achieving things that we would like to accomplish.
Now we're going to get to the preparation part a little bit later, because that actually that's one of the questions that I have, because again, you have an outstanding bio, and you have such diverse experience that I do want to get to the preparation part. And I like what you said about being a role model, being an example, and hopefully, just like you're standing on AD Ball's shoulders, someone will come after you and they'll be standing on your shoulders as well. And I think that's always the hope. I do want to transition a little bit. Like I said, you have had the distinction of being student athlete, coach, administrator. But I want to talk also about your collegiate career. So take us back to playing at Mississippi State under the legendary Jerry Henderson and Sharon Fanning, SEC all-freshmen, SEC first and second team, a number of school records. Talk to us about Sharon Thompson, the basketball player.
Very competitive. If I had to say one word, two words that probably describe me as a player: competitive and tough. Didn't want to be outworked. Just one of those athletes, even when a lot of times you see athletes, and it's more prevalent even now. Kids are hurt, or they don't know the difference between being hurt and being injured. I was one of those athletes. Whenever I was injured and under the doctor's order, I was out of practice, man, it killed me inside, because I always felt like, and even now on the job, you can ask anybody on my job, I don't miss work. I probably have enough days built up, Sam, that I can retire 5 years early, I believe. I don't miss work, because I'm one of those people, and I was an athlete that, like, if I was out of practice or I had to miss a game for whatever reason, for injury, I always felt like you were getting better than me. So just competitive, tough. And just like I tell our athletes all the time, who doesn't like getting your ego stroked? You want to be the best player of your team. Right. Everybody likes to get that pat on the back and wants to get your ego stroked. If not, man, you may be in it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. In a prior life, I did some coaching, and I used to always say to my athletes, I cannot coach you to be tough. If you don't have it, I can coach the tangibles, right? I can teach you proper. I was a track coach. I can teach you proper running mechanics. I can teach you proper throwing mechanics. But when the going gets tough, I can't teach you that grit, that determination, that I'm not going to give up. Where does that come from for you? How did that develop? Was it something you were born with? Was it something that that came kind of as you matured? Where did that come from?
You know, I get asked the question a lot. Where do you get so much confidence from? I get asked that a lot. I mean, by men, women, black, white, I get asked that a lot. Where did you get so much confidence from? Is it something your parents instilled in you at a young age? And I've been asked that a lot, Sam, just this school year. Is it something your parents instilled in you at a young age? I think it just came from the way I grew up, my upbringing. I grew up, now, you know, I'm 45, so we grew up playing street ball, something that you rarely see nowadays. Mm-hmm. I pay attention to when I'm going through towns and going through different cities. You don't see the parks. And even in the summers, I know not now, but even in the summers, you don't see parks. When I grew up, parks, man, parks stayed packed with kids playing hooping, playing ball. You may see a few females out playing with the men. So the neighborhood that I grew up, and I'm from Alabama, and the way I grew up playing against my male cousins, older cousins in their 30s, 40s, my age, and they did not take it light on me. So that taught me the toughness part of it. And then, you know, you guys are competitive. So I think that's where a lot of mine came from, the way I grew up. Not necessarily anything my parents instilled in me, but just not necessarily just my parents, but my family, my environment instilled that in me. And the way I grew up, we had in our neighborhood, we had a goal in our neighborhood, and man, you know, and back then we played on the grass. There wasn't concrete much. Right. We wore the grass out. We had this drill now. We have this dribbling drill we do in practice called kill the grass, where you just handling the ball, working on different moves and stuff. So just playing ball with my neighborhood cousins and friends, and I was the only female out there every day playing with those guys. And then when I went on to junior high school, I'm playing pickup with the guys in PE. And my junior high school coach, Steve Binion, he recognized the talent and potential and the skill set that I had. And so he begged me for about a year. We didn't have a girls team in junior high. So I think I was in 7th grade, maybe. He begged me. He had been begging me. So I finally gave into it and played on his boys' B team. Mm-hmm. I got MVP, and we won the district championship. I got MVP. And my 8th grade year in junior high school, they started a girls team, a girls program. So all of that instilled this in me, playing with boys.
And that obviously translates to other things. Now, it's amazing because the experience, I can see the through line, and that's what I'm hoping that our viewers will see, because I think that the more we talk, they will see the through line of really a life of ball, but really that the lessons that you got from ball have translated to success in so many ways, right? And certainly I know as coach, you want to instill that in your athletes, your staff, as an athletic director, the people that are around you, because folks that are high functioning, they bring that to everything. They typically don't function highly in sport, and then they're not good in business. I always think of our dearly departed Kobe Bryant and kind of that Mamba mentality. He would be good as a lawyer. He would have excelled as a doctor. He would have tried to be at the top of his game in no matter what he did. And to me, I think that is the fundamental bottom line of sport. Obviously, you have the tangibles of the sport, but again, it is to teach you to never give up, to be the best you can be, to work well with others, to be tough and what have you. But I do want to go back to something that you said earlier. Because you said people always ask you, where do you get this confidence? What do you say to the people that incorrectly, in most cases, confuse that confidence for arrogance or having a chip on your shoulder, or who does this Sharon Thompson think she is? What do you say to those people?
Well, what I say to those people is, when you work the way that I work and put into it, like people thought Kobe Bryant was arrogant. People thought Michael Jordan was arrogant. I love those guys. When people think Gino Auriemma is arrogant, I love those guys. When you work and you put in, you know that you've put in the work to get where you are. To me, you can afford to be a little arrogant. Now, where you mess up at, you can afford to. You can afford to be a little cocky, be a little arrogant. But at the same token, I want to make sure I stay in touch with the humble side of me. Never lose that. Now, once you lose being humble, that's where arrogance ain't nothing to me. But once you lose being humble, that's when we have a problem going on now. So that's what I say to people. You earn that right. You can afford to be, it's good. You can afford to walk around people who've accomplished greatness like that. They can afford to walk around with a little arrogance and a little cockiness to them. But at the same token, a little pep in yourself. But at the same token, make sure you don't lose who you are and you remain humble.
And I think you touched on an important, a vital component, right? Because you said that you believe that you can have a little bit of a pep in your step because of the work you do, the work that you put in. At the end of the day, that you can be as arrogant and as cocky as you want to be.
Yeah, we had practice yesterday, right? We had practice yesterday. Whenever we practice on Sundays, we have to because we play on Mondays. So we had practice last evening at 6 p.m. And whenever we practice on Sundays, we either do a devotion. We do devotional reading before practice or either after practice. And we did it before practice yesterday. And one of the readings subject yesterday was confidence. That we read on yesterday was confidence. Like I tell our girls, a lot of y'all, we like to use excuses and excuses of that coach killed my confidence or that person killed my confidence. Well, how do you have confidence? I've been noticing our girls this year. And I told them last night before practice, how can you sit here and tell me you have confidence when the only time you touch a ball, I've been noticing you. The only time you've touched a ball this school year is in practice and in the game. And during practice or in a game. You don't ever come in doing the outside, extra getting shots up, none of that. So where's your confidence coming from? You don't gain confidence from practice. You definitely don't gain confidence on game day.
Absolutely.
You've got to instill it in you. You go to bed telling yourself, hey, I can do this. And you wake up in the morning telling yourself, hey, I can do this. Because there's going to be days when you're not going to want to do these things. But you build that confidence within yourself. And once you get to that peak or that plateau of it, can't nobody break it. And I'm one of those people you can't, I have people coming at me, especially in this AD's position. I see it all, but you can't break my confidence because it's something that I know I've built over the years that I've instilled in myself and I've built up in myself.
That's a word. That's a word. It's not Sunday, but that's like a Sunday service word. So I kind of want to step back a little bit because something that some of our viewers may not know about you is that you actually have not always been a coach at the administrator. You actually served as an elected official in your hometown. Yes. Walk us through how you got into politics and how politics might have helped you. We talked about development earlier, how things develop you and prepare you for roles. Talk to us about how politics helped to develop you to work as an athletic director.
Well, I think I had just, I played at Mississippi State for 4 years. I'm originally from Alabama. Played at Mississippi State for 4 years. Got drafted from there.
Yep.
Got drafted from there, 6 overall in the draft in 1998. Played over in Italy for a season. And it was around September 11th when those terrorist attacks happened. And so I moved back home. And I had a blast in Italy. I was actually had plans when those September 11th terrorist attacks happened. I was supposed to have gone back to Italy that next week. So, of course, I put all of that on hold. I was afraid to travel into another country at that time. So put all of that on hold. And here it is September, so I'm looking for a job. And ended up getting hired on here as an assistant. Mm-hmm. And I was back home. I was back home working here because where I'm from is not far from here. And just had some of my elderly people in the community and people who trusted me and knew me as a ball player. It started there. That's why I tell our kids, man, I tell our players all the time, being a college student athlete can open up some doors for you. It can open up some doors for you. Just you make sure you're prepared with your education and stuff. Don't take that for granted. Because being a collegiate student athlete, we do have an advantage a lot of times that regular students don't have. That regular traditional students don't have. All right. So because I think they know being a collegiate student athlete, a lot of discipline comes with that, getting up for 5 a.m. workouts, your weights, you're on a strict program, routine every day. So that's a lot of discipline comes with that. And So just had a lot of my elderly people back home and older people, teachers, retired teachers and stuff who taught me when I was in high school, just talking to me about, hey, you'll be great. This guy, the seat that I ended up taking on as a board member, that guy, Reverend Harris, ended up retiring. And so just people talking me into running for a position, and it's an elected position. So I ended up gave into it. Like, I don't know about politics. I'm going to get into it, but I'm not playing politics with it. I know that sounds crazy. I'm into politics, but I'm not playing politics with it. And especially when it comes down to education and educating and doing what's best for our younger generations, for our kids. And so I gave into it, ran for office. It's a 6-year term, ran for office. And I ended up running against one of my former teachers. He's a retired teacher. I ended up running against him, and he was a retired teacher, a retired principal and everything. Ended up running against him, won by a landslide. And then when that 6-year term was a 6-year term, when that term was up, I decided to ran again and ran against a female this time. And I won that election by a landslide. So that showed me also just the trust that people have in me, just the trust in people, the trust that people have in me, and just even on the political side. But being in politics, those 12 years that I was in, and after my second 6-year term was up, I just decided to give it up. I had a lot going on, more going on with my job. More going on here with the job, and just decided to give it up. And so, but that definitely prepped me for the administrative side of it, more so than just coaching. The administrative side of it, knowing the state laws and the bidding laws and a lot of that stuff, because I did all this 12 years I was on. Every year you have to maintain so many hours of board training, certification and training. So I always attended all of that stuff, went to national board conferences, our state board conferences, and just that side of it has really prepared me for the administrative side of it. And you just know, I had no idea, Sam. I had no idea 12 years ago when I first, or over 12 years ago now, I had no idea that me becoming an elected official board member was preparing me for this role. Yeah. So you never know. I had no idea. Yeah. And it's helped prepare me for this role as an administrator.
Yeah, because I think a lot of folks, you've got this spectrum of positions in athletics. Sports information, athletic directors, athletic trainers. You've got your marketing for, depending on where you are, you might have a marketing team, strength and conditioning. And I think that a lot of times people don't truly understand the nature of the work that folks do, or what the job entails, and how much being an athletic director. Our first guest was actually Commissioner Steve Martin, and just discussing with him what a commissioner does day in and day out. Walk our folks through what an athletic director actually does, because I think that will help them too to see kind of the link between politics and being an AD, right? Because it does involve a lot of building consensus. It involves a lot of listening to differing voices and divergent opinions. You've got to work with the conference. You've got to work with the college or university. You've got to work with outside stakeholders. You've got to work with maybe booster clubs or things of that nature. So walk us through what an athletic director actually does day in and day out, and what the role entails.
We're here at East Mississippi Community College. We have football. Our football program is nationally known. We've won several national championships. So we have football, we have men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, softball, and then also we have like a 60 to 70 member band. So I'm also of our band. I'm of our cheer. We have men rodeo, women rodeo. So there's 9. And we're talking about possibly starting our golf program right back. So currently we have 9 different programs, sports programs that I'm over. And so it entails just the day-to-day operations of all of those programs, making sure you're in compliance with the MAC, making sure we're in compliance with the NJCAA. I think a lot of people don't realize the day-to-day operations and stuff that athletes or coaches or administrators, athletic directors go through. I think people think we just show up on game day and we play games.
You show up on the game day.
we go to practice and we play games. That's it.
Yeah.
But just being athletic director, I'm responsible for our compliance and making sure all of our student athletes are eligible and we're in compliance with the NJCA, with the MAC office. And I'm kind of down here now, Sam, but man, the last couple of weeks when we started, our first game was back in January, on January the 21st. And so leading up until that, those 2 weeks before our season started, we had men's and women's basketball, baseball, softball, all four sports programs starting at the same time.
Yep.
So that was a lot of paperwork. And making sure getting all of our athletes certified and just going through all of that. And I have my administrative assistant with my AD's office, Nikisha Woolard. She's outstanding in helping me, and our academic advisor. Yep. And we're all women, and I love it. But we have this team, the three of us, we have this team together, and we work so well together. So having people like that on staff with me helps out also. But just the day-to-day operations of it, making sure everything is ready to go on game day. Just you want to take as much off of your coaches that you possibly can. Bidding, making sure when we have to get uniforms, we have to bid stuff out. You want to make sure you're in complying with state and government regulations with bid and getting stuff out. It's a lot of stuff. Be meeting with boosters and your alumni. You've got to try. You can't, but you've got to try to keep everybody happy.
Yes, and that I think is the beauty of the political field, is working with different people, working with different stakeholders. And I think that's the beauty of in many ways, sports, because I think that a lot of times fans or they don't understand what's behind the veneer. They don't understand that on game day, you might have been there, the game might be at 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. You've been there since 11. Mm-hmm. And that's not, as AD, you might have gotten there 8 or 9, but your support staff, your game day staff, so they don't see what's behind the veil of sport. They just show up on game day, and then it's like, my team better win. Not only am I showing up, but you better win.
I heard it even before I became athletic director and just coaching. This is my 16th year, I think, being the head coach. So I have 20 plus years in coaching, mm-hmm. and all at the same place. And I've been fortunate and lucky, and both, more importantly, blessed to be at a place I love working at. And this has been a one-stop show for me so far. So I started off 4 years here as an assistant, then was promoted to head coach. This is my 16th, 17th year or so being the head coach. And then this is my first full year being the athletic director. So to me, that's just been a blessing to be able to, sometimes I've been here, Sam, I've been one of those people where I've been in the job so long and at the same place so long, you start questioning yourself. Am I doing things right? Or is it time for me to move on? Mm-hmm. You start questioning yourself, and especially after being the head coach for 16 years. And I had no idea that I would get the opportunity to be the athletic director when it happened last year. So I had started questioning myself. And I guess about 5 years ago, I started falling on my plate and in my lap that I wanted to get into administration. And so I started questioning myself, like, am I making progress? Am I advancing myself? Mm-hmm. Is being at the same place all of these years handicapping me? Mm-hmm. Am I moving forward? And so when this happened last year, it just reminded me that I am, and that you can have success when you're at the same place. And a lot of people think because you're at the same place, you're in your comfort zone, you're not maybe working. But the people I know knows that, I work my butt off. And it's just, a lot of times you have to have patience and perseverance. You keep persevering, and you got to have a lot of patience. And it'll in due time, the Bible speaks of it, in due time, you will reap your benefits. And that's what I'm doing here at the same place. And I've just been so blessed to be able to have promotions on my job and at the same place, not having to switch jobs all over the place, but to get my promotions at the same place and at a place that I love working at.
Now, you have had you mentioned your coaching career. You have had a coaching career that has been nothing short of stellar. Most recently, you led the Lady Lions to their first NJCAA tournament appearance since, I think, 1998. You won the conference. You won the Region 23. Take us back to the moment for the MAC tournament in front of a home crowd. It's double overtime. The clock hits 0-0, and you've led your team to the MAC championship. Take us back to that moment.
Sam, that was, I wish everybody that's coaching on every level can experience that. Man, that was just like surreal. I mean, our goals, some of our goals last season was to win our division, to go undefeated at home, win our division, regardless how, win our division. Be honest with you, didn't think we would go undefeated in our division. That's hard to do. Mm-hmm. That's hard to do. But to win our division, yes, to win our division, to go undefeated at home, get a chance to host a state tournament. By winning our division, we knew we had a chance to host a state tournament on our home floor. So to host a state tournament in Scooba, Mississippi, and to win it on our home floor. And if we then accomplish all of those 4 things, we won our division, but not only did we win it, we went undefeated in our division, 12-0. We went undefeated at home, 13-0. We got a chance to host a state tournament, and doing so, Sam, man, it was like it was coming. It was like, well, you know, you can have some bad, you can have that good bad, but it was just like, that was I had only been in the AD's job for a good month, and here I am having to put on a state tournament for an entire week that entailed 16 teams, 8 men's team, 8 women's team, started on that Monday. So we went undefeated at home. We got a chance to host our state tournament, and to turn around and win it on our home floor the way we did in a game that took us into double overtime. And now those 2 winning shots that we made to send it, we were down by 3. One of our kids hit a 3 to send it into the first overtime. And that overtime, we're down by 3. I think the first overtime, we were down by 3 with like 1.7 seconds left, I think. And then send it into overtime. In the second overtime, we're down by 3 with 2.4 seconds left. The same kid hits another 3 to send it into the double overtime. And we ended up in the double overtime. And we just kept persevering. Persevering. And in that second overtime, we were able to pull away and win by 14 points. But to do all of that, I don't know if I would have the same feeling, Sam, if we had done it on the road. If we had done it at Jones, we have done it at Meridian, at Itawamba, somewhere else. If we had done it on the road, and that all just made it so much more fun and just surreal. We were able to do all of that in front of a sold out packed Coliseum, in front of our home fans. And that just, I think that part, if you can't tell, I'm getting chill bumps now. That part of it excited me more than anything. Winning it in front of our family and in front of our friends.
Yeah. It's an amazing feeling. And certainly congratulations to you and to your team. I know you're looking forward to an amazing season because we're still kind of early in it, but I want to ask you a final question. Okay, because first off, folks, you know, y'all may not know, don't know this, but this is actually Sharon and I, it's our first time actually seeing each other, right? And so I'd only known her from correspondence or from her bio. And so when you said you were, I think 45, you know, I see it, right? But your resume reads like someone that has been working for 50 or 60 years.
Wow. I mean, never had anybody tell me that.
Seriously. I mean, you know, and I think, you know, maybe because folks are in your orbit, they, you know, the folks around you know, but if you were to just purely look at this body of work, it's insane that, I mean, this is 24 years of profession, maybe 25, 26, you know.
You just, hey, see, here's stuff like that just motivates me. You just motivated me. Here's stuff like that just, I've never had anyone tell me that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I definitely, you know, that it stuck up to me. And so my final question for you was, when you close the book on your professional career, when all is said and done, when the final the final dust settles, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to have said about Sharon Thompson?
That she was a hard worker. She treated people fairly. I don't like mediocrity around me. You're gonna bring your best around me. You're gonna bring the best around me if you got to get gone. I don't like mediocre people around me. I'm one of those people. I really believe in, you know, that I don't believe you're a product of your environment, but your environment, at some point, if you sit around it, it can tend to shape you. I don't believe you're a product of your environment. You can escape an environment you're in, but just that I don't want people to remember the wins and losses. I don't want that. I want people to remember Sharon Thompson, that she did things the right way. I held my kids accountable. that we ran a good program. We did things the right way. We did it with some humility, with some character, with some grace, and that, we just not the X's and O's to me. That we did things the right way. We did it with grace. We did it humility. We did it with a lot of character. We did it respectful and very tactful. That's what I want people to remember.
Folks, Sharon Thompson, it's been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed this conversation. I've enjoyed finally getting to meet you. Hopefully I will be seeing you in the postseason in this crazy year we have had. But I'm hoping to be able to see you soon. We can chat a little bit more in person. But it has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you.
Likewise. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much. Take care.
You're welcome. Thank you, Sam. Bye-bye.